Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking at, well, a really remarkable set of sources. It's essentially an expert-level introduction to South Korea.
That's right. It covers history, culture, the whole package.
Yeah.
But it's all framed through the very specific lens of someone preparing to be a professional guide.
Exactly. So for you listening, this isn't just a list of facts. It's like looking at the foundational knowledge, the personal mission statement of someone aiming to become a certified tour interpreter guide.
And our goal here is to unpack that vision. We're talking about blending deep historical context with, modern K-culture and a real commitment to personalized, high-quality travel experiences.
Okay, so let's get into it. What jumps out immediately, I think, is the focus isn't just on what you see, but how the tour happens. It starts with the guide's own qualifications and values.
Yes, the preparation is quite rigorous. We're talking about someone with a college degree in tourism management.
And graduate work in English education on top of that. That's quite a combo: industry knowledge plus communication skills.
It really speaks to their dedication, doesn't it? They mention spending 15 years teaching English, and they specifically say this helps them explain clearly and warmly.
Which is crucial for a guide.
Absolutely. But the skills go beyond academics. They've run a marketing company focusing on organic, useful content. And they even have solid photography skills from clubs.
So marketing, communication, photography, even hiking experience. It's quite a unique mix.
And they want to leverage all of this to design personalized, custom tours. That's the core idea.
They even mention wanting to launch their own one-person travel agency soon. Now that sounds, well, ambitious, maybe even risky in today's market.
It does seem risky on the surface, but their reasoning is really interesting. They believe that this independent structure, this one-person agency, is the only way to really deliver those truly unique, customized tours.
So it's about quality, control, and direct connection.
Exactly. It's about maximizing visitor satisfaction, they argue, tailoring the experience directly to you, the visitor, rather than offering a standard package.
Right? High quality over just high volume. And to manage that kind of personalized service, they've boiled down their approach to three core principles.
Yes, and these seem foundational, not just nice-to-haves, but pillars. First is kindness, making sure everyone feels comfortable.
Makes sense. What's next?
Second, punctuality, keeping the tour on schedule, respecting your time. And third, perhaps most importantly, safety. They state it's always the first priority. No accidents.
Kindness, punctuality, safety. Seems straightforward, but probably hard to execute consistently.
Especially the safety aspect on, say, hiking tours, which they mention.
And their view of what an interpreter guide should be, it goes way beyond just language, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. They really push back on the idea of being a machine that translates. They see the role as providing deeper context.
Like what specifically?
Things like the historical background of a place, its deeper meaning, how locals actually view it now.
So not just reciting dates.
Not at all. They talk about sharing interesting behind-the-scenes stories. And, critically, they want to understand the visitor's background, too, relating Korean context to maybe situations in your home country. That fosters genuine cultural exchange.
That transforms it from a lecture into a real conversation. Okay, so let's transition from the guide's philosophy to the actual places. The source material points out a common issue with Korean tourism.
Yeah, this was interesting. They call the biggest problem the intense focus just on Seoul.
Which is understandable. It's a huge global city, but...
Right, but Korea is so much more. And this guide backs that up by saying they've personally hiked many of Korea's famous mountains, showing they know the country beyond the capital.
Okay, let's start in Seoul, though, with the famous UNESCO palaces. How does this guide differentiate Gyeongbokgung and Cheongdeokgung?
Well, they use them to show different aspects of the Joseon dynasty. Gyeongbokgung is presented as the grand ceremonial palace. Think symmetry, large-scale, diplomacy.
And they mention specific details, right, like the courtyard stones.
Yes, those stones from Gangwon Island. Apparently, they were chosen for practical reasons. Good drainage, reducing sun glare, and being easy to replace. Little details like that bring it to life.
And the connection to Hangul.
Crucial point. Sujongjeon Hall within Gyeongbokgung was originally the Hall of Jifyeonjim. That's where King Sejong's scholars actually created the Korean alphabet, Hangul, a place of huge historical weight.
Okay, so Gyeongbokgung is formal, ceremonial, foundational. How does Cheongdeokgung contrast?
Cheongdeokgung offers a totally different feel. It was built later by King Taejong and often served as the primary working palace. The key difference is its design. It follows the natural landscape, the hills and valleys.
It feels more integrated with nature.
Exactly. It's famous for the secret garden, the Hwon, and specifically the Buyeongjong Pavilion by Buyeongji Pond. It's designed so when you're inside looking out, it feels like you're floating on the water. Much more intimate, more natural than Gyeongbokgung's formal layout.
That's a great way to illustrate the differences. Now, following the guide's advice to look beyond Seoul, Gyeonggi comes up next.
Yes, Gyeongju is presented as absolutely vital. It's about 3 hours south from Seoul by the KTX high-speed train. And you have to remember, this was the capital of the Silla Kingdom for nearly 1,000 years.
1,000 years. No wonder they call it a museum without a roof.
It really is. You've got incredible treasures there. Think of the stunning gold crowns found in the royal tombs, symbols of Silla's power and wealth.
What else stands out?
There's the serene Buddha statue in the Seokrom Grotto, a masterpiece of Buddhist art, and Cheomsamdae, which is recognized as the oldest surviving astronomical observatory in East Asia.
Wow.
But the guide also makes sure to point out it's not just ancient history. Yeonju today has, great food, nice cycling routes. It blends history with modern enjoyment.
Okay, but maybe the most mind-blowing example of history and preservation is Heinsa Temple.
The Tripitaka Koreana. Yes, this is truly extraordinary. We're talking about over 80,000 carved wooden printing blocks.
With over 52 million characters, created way back in the Goryeo dynasty.
Right, as a spiritual effort to protect the nation from the Mongol invasions. But the truly incredible part is how they've been preserved for over 700 years.
Without modern technology. How on earth did they do it?
It's this building, the Jangnyeom Panjeon, which is itself a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's basically a masterpiece of natural climate control.
How does it work?
Well, the structure uses clay walls and wood that naturally absorb and release moisture, helping to regulate humidity. The floor has layers of charcoal, salt, sand, and lime under a gravel layer to control moisture from the ground.
Okay, but the airflow.
That's the genius part. They design the windows differently on opposite sides. Larger windows on the south-facing side, smaller ones on the north. This creates natural ventilation, a constant airflow that keeps the humidity right around 60–70%, perfect for preserving the wood blocks for centuries.
That is absolutely ingenious, and it ties back to this theme of quality and care, whether it's ancient artifacts or, for this guide, a modern tour.
Precisely. It's a great bridge to how they approach modern tourism, too, especially with the rise of K-culture.
All right, let's pivot to that. The K-culture engine. How does the guide plan to incorporate this huge phenomena?
This is where their marketing background and emphasis on customization really shine. They state clearly, if they know what you like, they tailor the tour.
So if you're a huge K-pop fan,
then the tour can focus on places like the headquarters of major entertainment companies like YG or HYBE. Apparently, some of these now have dedicated visitor centers where you can buy merchandise and have cultural experiences.
And the sources mentioned a specific example of media impact, a show called KPP Demon Hunters.
Yes, quite specific. It apparently had over 300 million views globally. The key point is that it showcased iconic Korean spots, Olympic Stadium, Lodi Tower, the Han River, Namsan Tower.
So basically creating a travel itinerary for fans.
Exactly. The source actually projects that this one show could contribute to a 23.1% increase in tourism for 2025. That's the power of media right there.
And it even changes how people see everyday things, like food. The guide uses gimbap as an example.
It's a perfect illustration. The guide notes that maybe 15 years ago, foreign visitors, especially kids, often didn't know gimbap.
Right, seaweed might have seemed unfamiliar.
But now, thanks to exposure in shows like Demon Hunters, it's incredibly popular. People seek it out. Frozen gimbap is even being exported globally. Media makes the unfamiliar familiar, even desirable.
And this guide connects the dots. If you saw a traditional village in the show, they can take you to a real folk village, like Yongin.
Or connect the modern K-pop light displays, sometimes seen on Namsan Tower, back to the broader cultural context. It's about linking the modern hype to its roots or real-world locations.
And the guide emphasizes regional diversity too, right?
Yeah.
Beyond Seoul and Gyeongju.
Definitely. They highlight places like Jeju Island with its volcanic landscapes, Halasan Mountains, Crater Lake, the famous Hanyo women divers who are a UNESCO intangible cultural heritage.
And that waterfall that flows right into the ocean.
That's the one, Jeongbang Waterfall. Very unique. They also mention specific folk villages like Yangdong, which is 500 years old and shows the traditional layout of noble versus commoner houses.
And Haho Village.
Yes, cited as a perfect example of Basin-Imsu, the traditional principle of geomancy, having a mountain at the back and water at the front. Showing that level of detail really underscores their knowledge.
Okay, so we've covered the guide's philosophy, their deep historical knowledge, from palaces to preservation, and how they're tapping into the K-culture wave. What's the final takeaway about their personal commitment?
It really comes back to their love for the landscape and sharing it. They mention having hiked most of Korea's major mountains, and they want to specialize in guiding Bukhansan National Park.
Which is right in Seoul, isn't it?
Yes, Seoul's only national park. It's super accessible by public transport and gets almost 7 million visitors a year. They want to offer safe, enjoyable trips there that show the real Korea.
And they mentioned having more time now.
Right. They note their childcare duties are nearly done, so they have the flexibility to really commit to this career path now. They're actively working towards that tour interpreter guide certification.
It all seems to stem from a simple, genuine place. They say, I feel happy when I can help foreigners who come to Korea, and I get to share that culture with them more deeply.
That really sums up the motivation, I think. It's not just a job, it's a passion for sharing their culture and helping visitors connect with it. And importantly, they seem eager to help now. The source implies that if you, the listener, have questions or need guidance planning a trip, reaching out would be welcomed. They want to use this knowledge.
That's a great point. They're building their experience and are keen to engage with the community they want to serve.
Exactly. They're putting in the work for certification, but the knowledge and willingness to help are already there.
So, for you listening, considering all this, the focus on deep knowledge and personalization is clear. If you could request a specialized tour from a guide like this, beyond the famous palaces, what would it be? Maybe delving into dark tourism at the DMZ, or exploring the history of printing and records, linking Heinze to Jikchi, the world's oldest movable metal-type print.
Lots of possibilities. Remember, the person behind all this knowledge is really dedicated to helping you discover the Korea they know and love. Something to think about.